Hi. I have this, just thinking about, this has been amazing today, but an issue around being too selfish. And I guess the thing that my question has to do with being, I understand it's okay to be selfish, but in relationship.
Can you be otherwise? Can you see other than through the eyes of self?
No.
Well, then that's what selfish is. Do you think that you should advocate for someone else?
No.
And it's all right to advocate for them, but you know why you do it? Because you want them to benefit, and that's selfish. In other words, when you see someone suffering, you put an improved version of them into your vortex. And when you look at them suffering, you deny your own improved version, and you don't feel good. And then you feel disempowered because they won't clean up their act. But it's really your job to see them in the improved way. Otherwise, you can't selfishly satisfy. You see, you keep expanding. And the true definition of selfish is to take this physical self that I call me, myself, and I, to take this physical me over here with the rest of me, to get myself together with me, to line up with all that I am. And that is the best definition of selfish that we could give, but it is also the best definition of alignment that we could give, or of empowerment that we could give. You see what we're getting at? It really helps a lot when you accept that you and every other person that you know is selfishly oriented. And as sure as water flows downhill, they are going to gravitate toward their own selfish interests. And when you do the same, which means when you are utterly selfish, do you know what that means? Even though that rascal is selfishly pleasing himself and maybe even doing something that feels inappropriate to you, the true definition of selfishness means you won't let yourself look at that person in a derogatory enough way that it separates you from the way the source within you sees it. So can you hear us when we say that if you could really accomplish the ultimate selfishness, you would be so aligned with the source within you that you would love them all. Somehow selfish doesn't sound so bad when we're talking about someone who loves instead of hates, you see. Selfish means seeing through the eyes of source, aligning with the wholeness of who I am.
Yeah, I get that. And I guess I feel like I can be really feeling amazingly well and really good, and then I'm with my partner and I just am made wrong for as if I'm not giving enough attention to her, or I'm not doing the things that she wants me to do.
Well, you could be compliant to that, in other words, but you would not serve her, because anytime you behave in a way that fills another's outside the vortex neediness, you don't help them, because she can't round up enough people to be selfless to keep her happy. In other words, now she needs everybody to behave like that, and you're the only schmuck who's willing to. We mean that in the nicest way. But isn't that what your marriage vows say? I promise to love you no matter how foolish and irritating you are. In sickness and in health, in aggravation and in grief, I'll be there for you. I won't like it, but I'll be there for you. You see?
Yeah, we've set several dates to get married. We keep putting it off and come up with reasons not to. And it's I'm there, but yet I feel like a part of me wants to not be there. And when we have these conflicts,
well,
I'm just ready to end it.
But here's the reason. We'll give you something that will help you, because if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would move forward with it, because we can feel so much vibrational compatibility. There's so much about this person that's in your vortex that there is really so much more reason for you to commit to this relationship than not to. But here's why you're feeling what you're feeling. Because you're not yet stable in your vortex. You're doing what almost everybody's looking. You're looking for somebody who makes you go there easily.
Right.
Which means most of you should marry your dog.
we
Well, think about it. In other words, your dog doesn't hold grudges. Your dog remembers all the best things about you, is always glad to see you, and does not come out of the vortex for you.
we met when she was walking her dog, and yeah. And the dog, like, the dog's amazing. I mean, so is she, but yeah.
Might want to not bring that up. Let's wrap this up in a way that you can really feel.
Sure.
So when you vow, in other words, most people are looking for someone who makes it easy for them to feel good. So really, what everyone's looking for in a relationship is someone who takes them into the vortex. Think about it. Isn't that, knowing what you know about a vortex, knowing what you know about it, isn't that really why you're choosing who you're choosing? They make you feel good. They make you laugh. They make you feel appreciation. They make you bask. They give you clarity. They are delicious. They are fun. They are full of energy. In other words, the reason that people turn you on and make you want to be with them in every case is because something about your attention to them causes you to feel better. And so when you finally work that around in your mind and you realize that you're not looking for someone to take you into the vortex, you're looking for your vortex.
Yeah.
And when you look for your vortex frequently and you find your vortex frequently, then the relationships that you choose can be what you've been looking for. It's a much easier way of going about it. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain incessantly in the vortex.
Let's do it. I've been trying to figure out the last couple hours what I want to ask. So I have a couple things. I've been always very health conscious, and I think a lot of people are, like, especially in this city here and stuff. And then I always come back to the thing where we talked about it many times, but just quickly, with the food, let's say, we used to take a lot of herbs and all these things, and the more I listen to you, you say like that the well-being, the energy you have and all that doesn't have really hardly anything to do with what you eat.
Well, what happens is when you take the time to find the feeling place of wellness and you practice it, then food will gravitate to you and appeal to you. That is the food of least resistance.
Okay.
So there are a lot of foods that you may be avoiding that you don't need to avoid when you're in the vortex. In other words, do you accept that your physical apparatus is made up of trillions of cells, each of whom is a consciousness? Can you wrap your thoughts around that? So if your body is out of balance, so the cells are asking for an improvement, and you are a sort of neutral petri dish of non-resistance, those cells can extract whatever they need and whatever they want from wherever they are. But if you are in a place of resistance, then they are hindered. So your cells are not hindered by what you eat. They're hindered by what you think.
Okay.
And you can't separate what you think about what you eat. In other words, when you believe that a food is not good for you and you're eating it, you're hindering your cells. You were better off before you knew that. You were much better off before you knew that, because you weren't introducing a contradictory vibration that translates as guilt to you, you see.
So getting in the vortex is always, and then just eating whatever taking that you feel good about.
Well, that's what we would encourage. Get in the vortex and then do anything you have time for. Get in the vortex and then eat. Get in the vortex and then call your girlfriend. Get in the vortex and then call someone that you care about.
Yeah.
Get in the vortex and then go to a family reunion. Get in the vortex. Get in the vortex. Get in the vortex. Get into the vortex. Get into the vortex and align with who you really are, and then go out into the world and be who you really are, you see. But you got to get in the vortex. That's the momentum that we are encouraging you to reach for. I want the momentum of the vortex. I want the momentum of who I was before I was born. I want the momentum of this swirling vortex of creation. I want the leverage of that. There is so much leverage in that. Don't you know the difference? Haven't you ever been in a really good mood, and as you moved through your day, it effortlessly was wonderful? It was like the street lights were green for you, and the traffic was kind to you, and people were interesting as you interacted with them, and the day felt fun, and you were really productive, and you felt really good in your body, and at the end of the day, you just couldn't do anything less than acknowledge that this was a really good day. And it's because of the absence of resistance. And haven't you had those days where you say, I got up on the wrong side of the bed, I got off on the wrong foot, I got up out of the vortex, and I didn't do anything about what matters most. Instead, I just reacted to things as they came to me. You know the difference, don't you? You've had that personal experience. And so we're just encouraging you to tend to the vortex. Tend to it first. And don't defend the fact that you're not in. Accept the fact that you're not in. And then find the power that comes in reminding yourself that you can do something about it. And practice it till you know that you can do something about it. This is really good, so get ready to listen. When you show yourself that you can get into the vortex any time you want to. Esther says to Jerry, I can make you laugh any time I want to. She knows she can. She can get him, no matter what he's doing, no matter where he is, she knows she can get him. I can make you laugh any time I want to. Because she's practiced it and she knows. In other words, she knows that she can, no matter what. I can make you laugh any time I want to. And we want you to say to yourself, I can get into the vortex any time I want to. And only when you say that and know it, will you be happy in the world that occasionally takes you out. Until you know that, until you know I can get in the vortex anytime I want to, then there are buggers out there that feel threatening to you. There are terrorists, and there are rapers and robbers and thieves. There are Republicans and Democrats. There are people out there that feel to you like they threaten you if you haven't shown yourself that you can get into the vortex anytime you want to. That when you show yourself that you can get into the vortex anytime you want to, now you are invincibly aligned. Now you have practiced the readiness for these things to flow. And now as they flow, you're up and ready for them. So that you have the managers in place. You have the physical wherewithal in place. You're not overwhelmed by the manifestations that come to you, because you're prepared for the manifestations that come to you, because the universe won't deliver the manifestations that come to you in an order that you're not prepared for. In other words, you just tune yourself to the vortex and then watch the orchestration. You have a concierge in the sky. You have a manager, a micromanager, a macromanager. You have resources that few of you even begin to tap into, because you're so determined to prove your worthiness outside the vortex. I work really hard, you say. I work really hard, and I've been at this a long time, and I deserve this. I deserve it. I'm not getting it, but I deserve it. I'm not getting it, but I deserve it. And we say, deserve is not a good D word. It isn't. It's not a good D word.
What has Esther been doing the last couple of years? She's been looking younger every year she comes here.
She has been determined to be in the vortex, and now her pants are hanging on the floor.
Everything is loose.
In other words, she is discovering the deliciousness of the vortex regardless of what is. She is ignoring any reality that is not completely pleasing and fixating upon realities that are pleasing, and inside the vortex emotions that always make her feel good.
Nice.